You have the ordinary person having access to basic needs.
Very good infrastructure.
Empowering the youth, creating of jobs in the society.
We all make one and make our country proud. We have to help each other to build a country.
It's about government, and when we say government, it's not about who is ruling, it's all of us.
Potable water, electricity, healthcare, education, and other things that will improve people's lives.
For enforcement, because enforcement in the war going to be in developable minor.
With the help of we Ghanaians and our president,
The leaders of Ghana have to aim high.
When we sit back and expect government to do everything, everything government, it's not going to take us anywhere.
God bless our homeland, Ghana, and make our nation great and strong, bold to defend forever the cause of freedom and of right. Fill our hearts with true humility, make us cherish fearless honesty, and help us to resist oppressors' rule with all our will and might forevermore. Interestingly, most Ghanaians do not seem to know or remember the words of the second stanza. Steadfast to build together a nation strong in unity, with our gifts of mind and strength of arm, whether night or day, in the midst of storm, in every need, whatever the call may be, to serve thee, Ghana, now and evermore. Development, as defined by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, is the act or process of growing or causing something to grow or become larger or more advanced. It is also defined as the act or process of creating something over a period of time, or the state of being created or made more advanced. Most often, development is expected to be achieved by leaders. Leadership is expected to spearhead development by providing for health, nutrition, education, a clean environment, and so on for the citizenry. Borrowing a line from the national anthem, today we make our solemn vow, steadfast to build together a nation strong in unity, with our gifts of mind and strength of arm. This means every individual has a role to play. No government can progress without the people, Justice V.C. R.A.C. Crab.
There's something called self-help. There are areas in which we can develop to the physical development of this country without the government coming in. Let me give you an example. I don't need the government to tell me that I should clean the house in which I live. And if I clean the house in which I live, and my house is clean, I believe the street in front of my house will be clean. And if the street in front of each of our houses is clean, the cumulative effect is that the country is clean.
A developed society is one in which both the material and immaterial or spiritual aspects of men are made the basis of societal aspiration and are held in balance, according to Professor Kofi Asare-Opoku.
A developed person is a person who knows who he or she is. A person who has absolutely no doubt about his or her identity. Okay? A person who feels there is nothing lacking about him or her, and that he or she is whole and complete. This is what I would call a developed person. But when we look at ourselves in Ghana, you could easily tell that here are a people who feel they are lacking something, And that sense of lack, you see, creates so many problems for them without their knowing. I mean, here we live in Ghana, not knowing our identity and always wanting to become like somebody else. We don't have our own languages, or we don't value our own languages. We don't value our culture. We always want to become something else. We tend to look down upon ourselves, you know. We don't even know how to pronounce our names. We all mispronounce our names in Ghana. We call ourselves Mensa. There's no Mensa, it's Mensa. We say Lamte. There's no Lamte in Ghana, it's Lante. You see, well, Asante, and so on and so forth. When the Europeans mispronounced our names, we came to believe, surprisingly, that that was the better way or the correct way of pronouncing our names. But who mispronounces their names?
Development, he says, is not trying frantically to catch up with those whom we believe may be ahead of us. If there is any catching up to do in development, it is with ourselves as a people by building on our own foundations.
At long last, the battle has ended. Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever.
It is believed that when Dr. Kwame Nkrumah fought to attain independence, it was a unanimous desire. Self-governance politically, economically, and socially.
In the pre-independence time, Nkrumah said, we prefer self-government with danger. But most of us preferred independence with what we call freedom. And freedom meant, you know, just being free. You know, I've often said, you know, we translated the word independence in Akan into Fauhudi, you know. Well, freedom, Fauhudi, Yafayahudi, you know, we just live and let others, you know, when others are working, Yafayahudi, we can, you know, we can relax. If we need food, somebody will bring it to us and so on. No, that is the wrong understanding of freedom, you know, that came at independence. I've often said, if we had said, Swawadiswa, carry your own load, you know, be responsible for yourself. And we are missing that link, you know, of being responsible for ourselves.
We had independence, yes. There was what you call the euphoria of independence. We had independence, first African nation to get independence. That was not an end. It was actually the beginning of the beginning. But did we begin? And how did we begin? What were the blue lines which we drew for the development of the country? Where did we go wrong as a people? We often blame our leaders for some of the problems we face in our respective countries without realizing that we also, as individuals, are part of the problem.
The journey of development from 1957 to 2015 has been described as checkered. The national agenda over the years has been unclear.
If our environment is not clean, we must clean it ourselves, and we must educate ourselves to the point where we don't even litter the environment with what we discard. You see, we have to develop, train ourselves to that level. Okay? But when our streets are dirty, you know, we expect, Zoomlion will come and claim it. No, we must educate ourselves to feel that it is our responsibility not even to drop things.
Until something changes within you, nothing changes around you. Every change begins from within. Without a change within, there can never be a change without. Dr. David Oyedepo. According to Professor Kofi Asare-Opoku, any talk about anything tradition and culture is sure to draw the charge of pathetic obscurantism, whose irrelevance has been amply demonstrated by modern developments. The African traditions are not opposed to progress. Our traditions and science are not at the opposite ends of the scale. On the contrary, our traditions have both a humanistic and scientific component.
We have to work on our minds. We have to know who we are. We have to be proud of who we are. We have to know our languages and speak them and use them. You see, there's a big difference between us and the people who preceded us here. The people who preceded us here were self-reliant. You could say by necessity. Okay, they took advantage and made the most of the difficulties they faced. They discovered medicines. The chewing sticks we use keep our mouths clean. The chewing stick Triapia, this Garcinia cola, prevents liver diseases. Who knew? Or another chewing stick called Ocanto in Akan, Fagara, the botanical name, is able to straighten a sickle cell, and prevent sickle cell crisis. Well, how did these people find these things? They invented their own traps to catch animals, and there is engineering in every single trap. But we would say, these are, primitive contraptions. Well, there's no such thing as useless or primitive knowledge. No knowledge is useless. The trap for catching fish, for instance, that we call a juku in Akan, when the fish enters the trap, it cannot come out. That is engineering. Which Ghanaian engineer knows the engineering principle in their juku? It may be a simple trap, but that's the beginning. Can we build on that to something else?
Every culture represent unique answers by a people to certain universal questions in the context of a particular historical situation, particular resources, skills, and knowledge. Dr. Buzia. The nation seems eager for development, but what is development to the Ghanaian? There seems to be a lot of focus on infrastructural development with little attention on developing the minds of individuals. It is essential to understand who the Ghanaian is and what works for the Ghanaian. It is also good to understand the Ghanaian culture and identity and how to translate it into development and self-reliance.
We are individuals, but individuals belong to a family. The family is the microcosm of the state. What we learn in the family becomes part of our character. That is the character we exhibit when we go outside. I have been a teacher before, and I often use this example. If you came to a room and you found 5,000 cedis, would you take it? You wouldn't take it, not because the policeman is not there, but you have been taught, not at school, not at college, not at university, but at home.
Our ancestors clearly believed that life is when you are together. Alone, you are an animal, says one of our proverbs. And that to be able to succeed, you need to depend on somebody. They came up with a simple proverb which was based on merely observing the body. Our ancestors said, when the right hand watches the left and the left washes the right, then both hands become clean. The right hand, however big or long, cannot wash itself. Neither can the left hand wash itself, however big or long. But if the left hand is to become clean, it means, and our ancestors knew that every human being has a limitation. That's why they decried individualism. Every human being has a limitation. And in order to overcome our limitations, we must come together. Now, we have tended to admire the individualism in Western culture, but it is hurtful to the society in the long run. Because as an individual, what can you do? All the money, all the whatever you may have amounts to nothing. You still have to think in terms of the welfare of the community.
In our mother tongue lie our souls, and to lose them is to lose our souls, and development is not possible where lost souls come together to build a nation. Professor Kofi Asare-Opoku. According to Professor Kofi Asare-Opoku, if Japan had used English, French or German as a medium of instruction in its schools and as an official language, it will not be where it is today. He says it is possible to develop Ghanaian languages as a medium of instruction in schools, and children will become better as a result. The task, indeed, is difficult, but who said that Ghanaians were not cut out for hard work? Many studies have clearly shown that children are put at a serious disadvantage when insisted on instructing them in a foreign tongue, and that children do fare better when instructed in their mother tongue. Instructing children in a foreign tongue leads them to despise their own culture, the very foundation of development. A great speaker once said, "Read a book for your unborn child." A developed individual ensures his or her child is also developed, thereby strengthening the home and the nation. A nation is the epitome of a home. Justice V.C. R.A.C. Crabb says the home plays an integral part in developing an individual to play an essential role in nation building. According to Professor Kofi Asare-Opoku, there can be no development, no growth in any area of our lives as a people without self-acceptance, self-awareness, and self-confidence, all of which take their source from our cultural heritage. Our journey towards development began in Africa, and its destination is in Africa. Professor Kofi Asare-Opoku. How do I improve myself, my home, and my nation?
I love to think that the family is the microcosm of the state. And what we learn in the family is eventually what we do when we are outside the family. The government of a country is a big family, and that's why we often refer to the president as the father of the nation. So the nation comprises a number of families. Let me start from the beginning. You have the individual. The individual belongs to a family. The families create the clan. The clans create the ethnic community. The ethnic communities create the nation. What we learn at each stage, whether the family, the ethnic community, the clan, translates in effect to what the nation is. The characteristics of each and every one of us cumulatively makes the characteristic of the nation. If you learn as a child how to sweep your room, how to clean your room, when you are working in an office, you will keep it clean. The way you are taught to do your duties as a child, if you perform those duties as a child, and you are now grown up, and you are working in a government office, that sense of responsibility should translate to to what you do in the government office. It boils down to something called responsibility. As a child, you took responsibility for your actions. Why is it that you are now grown up and you don't want to take responsibility for your actions? Responsibility is what makes us do things for other people. Sometimes we call it opportunity. When opportunities come our way, how do we deal with them? Let me show you. Failure is the accumulation of lost opportunities. Our lack of responsibility results in the failure as individuals. That failure in us as individuals results in the failure as a nation. A nation can only be great if the individuals in the nation perceive greatness as starting from the responsibility which the individual discharges in his life.
There is no limit to a developed mind.